Welcome to another episode of Purana Talk with Alan and Leon. Today we're exploring the Garuda Purana. We're in the second Kanda, and we're in chapter 6.
Yep, chapter 6. This is the glory of Vrshotsarga. And we'll learn what that is, presumably, as we go along. Garuda said, even if he has the means and is fond of pilgrimage and offering gifts, he cannot reach the splendid world if he does not perform a Vrshotsarga. Hence, Vrshotsarga shall be performed. O Krishna, this I have heard. Now tell me, what type of bull shall be chosen? At what time shall the bull be released? What is the method? Please tell me everything. They're giving more bulls away.
Bull release. Interesting.
Bull release, yes.
I've heard of work release. This is bull release.
O Lord of birds, I shall tell you the past history which was told to King Viravahana by Narada, the son of Brahma. A king, Viravahana by name, reigned in the Viradha city. He was pious, truthful, generous, as well as heroic. He used to satiate the Brahmins with sumptuous meals. With a mind to satisfy his curiosity, he went to Vasishta's hermitage. He saw the sage surrounded by the Munis, bowed to him, putting his problems before him. The king said, O sage, I have performed religious duties to the best of my capacity. I'm terribly afraid in my heart. O ocean of mercy, now tell me the way that I may not see Yama and his fierce-looking messengers. How can I avoid death, in other words? Vasishta said, O king, the sages who are well versed in scriptures have prescribed many religious rites, but due to their subtlety, people attached to karma yoga do not know them. Gifts, pilgrimage, penance, sacrifice, sannyasa, and pitriyajna, all these come under religion, especially the Vrshotsarga. A man should desire many sons because even if one of them goes to Gaia, he may perform a horse sacrifice or release a bull.
This could be problematic socially. If everybody's in their lifetime is supposed to release a bull, like in the town square.
Especially as the population increases.
Yeah, well, it just seems problematic from the get-go.
Yes.
All right.
Well, there you go. But somehow to avoid seeing Yama and his emissaries. But it was interesting. A man should desire many sons because even if one of them goes to Gaia, he may perform a horse sacrifice or release a bull. In other words, if you have to have many sons because once you die, there's a chance that at least one of them will get to Gaia, which is the sacred city you go to for special favors in releasing your ancestors from their, messes.
I wonder if you go to Gaia to release the bull or something.
Well, yeah, I think the suggestion is he goes there and does a horse sacrifice, or
and I assume we're talking about.
Now, I don't want to just reduce Vrshotsarga to the releasing of the bull because
right.
I don't even know what that means here exactly,
but they've referred to it twice now.
Yeah, well, yeah.
So it must be a big piece of it somehow.
All right, all heinous sins, like the Brahmin slaughter, done knowingly or unknowingly, are purified by releasing a bull or by swimming in the ocean. Oh, just go swimming in the ocean. But this is another thing that comes up all the time. There's so many ways to get out of the karmic debt you incur from killing a Brahmin that I think Brahmins would just be,
terrified.
Change your name. It's not Sharma anymore. I'm something else. Okay. O King, 14. If the bull is not released on the 11th day, the ghosthood of the deceased person becomes eternal. another one of those. Then, what is the use of performing a shraddha? Oi. Somehow or other, in the holy place or in the town, a Vrisha yajna should be done. Bull sacrifice, which doesn't mean sacrificing a bull. It means a sacrifice involving a bull. Sort of, it might or might not mean that.
Sacrifice with bull.
So somehow or other, in the holy place or in the town, a Vrisha yajna should be done, O bird. A young Panchakalyana bull, moving among the cows, should be wedded to the 4 she-calves, or 2, or even 1, reciting the wedding mantras, accompanied by the auspicious rites. Marry the bull off to some cows. 1, 2, or 4. I skipped 3. 18. An offering should be made to God Fire, reciting the 6 riks, iha, ratihi, etc. So, from the Rig Veda. It is especially recommended on the full moon day of Kartika, Magha, Vaishaka, or on Sankranti days, or on Sampata days, in the Pitri Tirtha, or on Akshaya day. Perhaps the same as Akshaya Tritiya, i.e. the 3rd day of the bright half of Vaishaka. A bull, red in color, white in tail, yellow in hooves and horns, is called Nila. That doesn't make any sense. Nila means blue, and that's the one color they didn't mention. A bull, red in color, white in the tail, yellow in hooves and horns, is called Nila. That of white color is Vipra. That of red color is Kshatra. And that of yellow is Vaishya. So it's somehow turned into Jatis, or Varnas, rather. And that of black is Shudra. Just as the colors of 4 castes have been prescribed by the wise ones. So bulls have caste based on their color. The black ones are Shudras. A bull of red color is preferred. Father, grandfather, and great-grandfather hope that the son will perform a Vrshotsarga. You are Dharma in the form of a bull, the delighter of the whole world. You are Ashtamurti.
It seems like it's changed, like we're in a prayer or something now.
Yep. It started in the 22 to 26 sections, let's say, but probably pretty early on. A bull of red color is preferred. Father, grandfather, and great-grandfather hope that the son will perform a Vrshotsarga. Quote, you are Dharma in the form of a bull, the delighter of the whole world. You are Ashtamurti, which it footnotes the 8-formed one, the 8 forms being the 5 elements, earth, water, fire, air, and ether, the sun and the moon, and the sacrificial priest. The sadhaka, or the pujari. You are Ashtamurti, hence give me peace. Drink and eat grass in the Antarvedi of Ganga and Yamuna. The Doab, I think you would call that, the area between the 2 rivers. O bull, you should speak about my good deeds before Dharmaraja, thus praising and marking him with the sign of Trishula in the
trident
in the right shoulder, and with the sign of Chakra on the left thighs, and worshipping the bull with incense flowers, uncooked rice, etc. He should release the same along with the she-calf. Hence, O king, perform Vrshotsarga as prescribed in the Dharma Shastras. You possess all the virtues for undertaking the rite. There is no other way for you. Long, long ago, this is now stanza 28, long ago in the Treta Yuga there lived a Brahmana, Dharmavatsa by name, in the city of Videha. He was learned, dutiful, lustrous, and devoted to Vishnu. He remained satisfied with whatever he could get, Whether the Pitrupaksha came, he went to the forest for collecting the kusha grass. When the Pitrupaksha came, he went to the forest for collecting the kusha grass. That's the Pitri, probably a fortnight dedicated to the Pitris in the month of Shravana. Shraddha is especially important. That's my guess. Because Paksha is literally wing, but it's the reference to the bright or the half Paksha of the lunar month, the bright or the half fortnight. So when the Pitri Paksha came, he went to the forest for collecting the kush grass. When he was moving here and there, picking the sacred grass and leaves, 4 good-looking persons came all of a sudden. They caught hold of him while he was perplexed. They carried him forcibly into the sky. Crossing fierce mountains and forests, rivers and rivulets, they reached a city of huge dimensions with gopura doors, adorned with palaces, crossroads, markets, and shops, crowded with men and women, resounding with the noise of trumpets, lutes, and drums. There he saw persons, some poor, some rich, some hungry, some good, some bad, some ill-clad, some dressed in golden clothes like the deities. He thought within himself, is this a dream, or an illusion, or a fancy? They took the surprised Brahmana to the king. There he saw in a golden palace a divine throne fanned with chamara and chatra. And that's the fly wisps and the umbrella. And the king sitting there with a shining golden crest. The king possessed great luster and was praised by the singing bards. If you're collecting bard references, that would be in 39, probably 3940. On seeing the Brahman come, the king stood up with folded hands, honored him in the traditional prescribed way with madhuparka, seat, etc. Then with joy and delight he praised the Brahmana, who was fully satisfied. Today my birth has been successful and my family purified, O Lord, as I see today a religious devotee of Vishnu. Having bowed to the Brahmana and praised him in many ways, the king said, you will be taken back to the place whence you have come here. On hearing the king's words, the Brahmana said, what is this land? Who are these people, the noble, the middle, and the base ones? By what good deeds have you obtained the lordship of this region? What for was I brought here, and why am I being carried away? I see many things unseen before. To me, everything seems to be a dream. The king said, as you have always been devoted to religion and have been a devotee of Vishnu disinterested in any other thing, I respect you. You have always been on the pilgrimage and have performed Vrshotsarga to the deserving. As you always speak truth and give gifts, you are bowed to by the deities, O Parantapa. You have been brought for a glimpse of this land as you are worthy of this honor. Be pleased with me, O Lord, and excuse my rash act. Having said thus, he presented his ministers by name, by hints of brows. Does he just go, and they come out, one after the other or something?
Well, maybe, or I think what it may be is he introduces them and he sort of explains how you can tell them apart. Like this is so and so, and you can tell because of this.
Okay. I like my idea better. 49. He will tell you everything. It is not proper for me to speak more. Thus he introduced Samanta, who knew the Vedas and understood their meaning, and asked him to speak. The Samanta spoke. The man was a Vaishya, Vishvambara by name in his previous birth in the city named Viradha, adored by Brahmins and deities. He lived by the profession of his caste and maintained his family. He served the cows and worshipped the Brahmins. He offered gifts to the deserving, welcomed the guests, and poured oblations into the fire. He performed the duties of his profession together with his truthful wife. By his righteous conduct, he won his people. By his gifts of oblations, he won the deities. Once, when after completing his pilgrimage together with his relatives, he was returning home, he saw sage Lomasha on the way. He bowed to him immediately, fell prostrate, and then stood up with joined hands. The pious sage, who was the ocean of pity, said to him, the sage said, "Gentlemen, from where do you come, together with your relatives and brahmanas? On seeing you, a religious person that you are, my heart has melted." Vishvambara said, "After seeing the decaying body and the death standing before, I went to pilgrimage together with my wife. I am returning home when I happened to see you, just now." Lamasha says, "There are many holy places in this sacred region. Tell me those which you have visited." Vaishya said, suddenly Vishvambara becomes Vaishya, which is a caste, a varna. "I have visited Ganga, the daughter of the sun, holy Saraswati, where Brahma performed 10 horse sacrifices." Now it says here in a footnote that after daughter of the sun, it says the Yamuna. So I think instead of describing Ganga as daughter of the sun after that comma, it's just listing Ganga, then Yamuna, which is daughter of the sun. The holy Saraswati, which is the third of these sacred rivers, which is no more on this planet, but perhaps probably had an existence in ancient times as a river, an important river, where Brahma performed 10 horse sacrifices. Kashi, the best of holy places, which is Benares, where the kind Mahadeva recited Taraka in the ears of dead creatures. The holy hermitage of Pulaha, Phalgutirtha, Gandaki, Chakratirtha, Naimisha, Shivatirtha, Goprataraka, Nagesha, Ayodhya, where the lotus-eyed Rama lived to confer mukti, Madhura, where Hari always stayed, Pushkara, Satyatirth, Jwalatirtha, Dineshwara, Indratirth, Kurukshetra, where flows the ancient Saraswati, Tapti, Payoshini, Nirvindya, Malaya, Krishnavenika, Godavari, Dandaka, Tamrachuda, Sadodaka, Dyavabhumishwara, Srishala, the best of mountains, where many Lingatirthas exist, Venkata, a mountain where god Hari Sriranga lives, and also the goddess Venkati, the slayer of Mahisha, lives. Chandratirtha, Bhadravata, Kaveri, Kulilachala, Avatoda, Tamraparni, Trikuta, Kolaka Mount, Vashishta Brahmatirtha, and Jnanatirtha Ocean. Rishikesha, Viraja, the huge Nila Mountain, Bhimakura, Kutta, Shvetagiri, Rudratirtha, Umavana, where Ganga's Girija obtained Shankara by performing penance. In other words, where Parvati got Shiva. Varuna, Suryatirtha, Hamsatirtha, Mahodaya, where ravens became royal geese after having a dip, and where the demons became deities after bathing. Vishvarupa, Banditirtha, Ratnesha, Kuhakachala, where one is released from the cords of sins after seeing Naranarayana, Saraswati, Drishadvati, Narmada, that grants happiness to kings, Nilakantha, Mahakala, Holy Amarakantaka, Chandrabhaga, Vetravati, Virabhadra, Ganeshwara, Gokarna, Vilvatirtha, Sataraka, Karmakunda, where one is immediately released from the bondage of karmas by taking a dip, and so many other holy places I have visited by your grace. Whenever the saints take pity, there dawn upon the visitors so many good thoughts. Hence, all sacred places are on the one side and the compassionate saints on the other. These men of character are moved to pity all creatures. By knowledge and by age, you are the instructor of all Varnas. Hence I shall ask you the secret about the spiritual eternal. What shall I do, and whom shall I approach? Tell me, O sage, my mind is wavering. It has no desire for attaining Brahma. It is very much fond of worldly objects, and it cannot stand their separation even for a moment, nor can it consider them to be illusory. Infatuated by various bhavas, it thinks the field of karmas to be the best, O Brahmana. Now tell me how it may obtain peace, how it may incline towards good thought, and how it may become pure. Now enlighten me on this point, please.
Okay, I want to go back slightly.
Yes.
I want to know where this long list of holy places began.
Well, it is it's essentially in the 58 to 76 section. It's a long section, and they've encountered a sage. Vishvambara has encountered a sage. It says, "So where are you coming back from?" Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
that's fine. That was just I didn't know where it started, but it became such a list of illustrious places. I wanted to keep track of it.
I've been to a lot of them.
I know you have. I've been to some of them.
And there's a lot of them I have no idea where they are. I mean, they're telling where some of them are, and in footnotes, but most of them are not that illuminating, so I didn't bother to read the footnotes. Excuse me.
That's fine.
All right.
Thank you. The sage said, I think, or is it Narada said?
Yes, it's just somewhere he's admitting that he doesn't have any real desire to attain Brahma. He's very fond of worldly things. Thank you very much, and infatuated about how it may incline towards good thoughts and how it may become pure, the mind. Now enlighten me on this point, please. The sage said, 83, the mind is always very powerful and naturally inclined to error. As the elephant keepers can bring under control even an uncontrollable elephant, similarly, by association with the saints, by constant application of proper means, by adopting the path of devotion and virtue, the mind can be controlled. I shall now tell you an old history to make you believe it. Now hear what Narada had told me about the history of his previous birth. Narada said, in my previous birth I was the maid son of a Brahmin. In my childhood I was taught continuously, and I remained in the company of pious people who stayed by good luck in my house during the rainy season. Once, interested in their talk and wholesome precepts, I was greatly delighted. I approached them with extreme politeness and due reverence, and addressed them thus. I said, O noble sages, be pleased to purify my thoughts, so that my intellect may get pure and seek the good only, seeking everything full of Vishnu. The sages said, O hear, child, we shall tell you something for your benefit, by understanding which you will achieve happiness here and hereafter. Different types of creatures of the world, deities, animals, men, are tied to the noose of karmas and experience different types of enjoyment. By sattva, they attain deityhood. By rajas, they attain manhood. By tamas, they attain animalhood. A creature is led by desires and is ignorant. He is born again and again out of the womb of his mother and dies again and again in different births. They pass through several births as the result of their activities. Sometimes they are born as men by virtue of their previous actions, It happens that they come in contact with the pious people, and by their goodwill and blessing, they come to realize the Supreme Self and achieve liberation. The vast ocean of existence abounds in crocodiles, overspread with the network of illusions. Any person who wishes to cross this ocean has no means other than the recitation of the name Ram. As we get butter by churning the curd, fire by rubbing the two pieces of wood, so by constant and concentrated meditation, we can realize the self and obtain peace. The self is eternal, indeclinable, truth, omnipresent, all-supporting, great, non-comprehensible, self-refulgent, non-apprehensible even to the mind. In the form of existence, consciousness, and bliss, the self is stationed in the heart of all creatures, while all other things are mortal. The self alone is immortal. The self is present in all beings, as the ether in fire and water. The Supreme Self, like the fire, is not attached to anyone. It is compassionate to the devotees, and for their protection it assumes human form, but the ignorant regard it as man. If a person possessed of differential knowledge meditates on him in the heart, the unborn self is pleased by his devotion and appears to him in his true form. It makes the seeker ever gratified when all sorts of desires forsake him forever. Hence, leaving your ego and attachment for this mortal frame, you should move all alone in this dreamland without imbibing any sense of desire. Where is stability in dream, truth in magic, eternity in the autumnal cloud, and reality in the body? Where is stability in dream, truth in magic, eternity in the autumnal cloud, and reality in the body? Knowing that the world is born of ignorance, you should restrain your senses and control your mind. Thereby you will attain peace. 105. Having said thus, the affectionate saints went away, and I followed the path shown by them. Then very soon I saw within myself a wonderful, ever-joyful Atman, pure like the autumnal moon. Sprinkling me with happiness and making me more inclined, the dazzling light hid itself inside like lightning in the sky. Realizing the same in my mind through devotion, I left my mortal coil in due course and went to the eternal abode of Hari. Then by his desire, O Brahman, I was born again through the grace of God. I had no attachment in the world. Playing on my lute and singing, I moved from place to place, thus telling me his experience. The self-willed sage went away. I was surprised and satisfied. Thus, indeed, in the company of virtuous men and by God's grace, a person becomes pure and calm in mind and attains perfect peace. O knower of virtue, even the sin inherited from previous births disappears immediately in the company of good men, like the water of the autumnal clouds. Can I take a short break?
I don't see why not.
We'll be back in no time. See, that didn't take long, did it?
Take long, did it? 111.
Ali. I was surprised and satisfied. Thus, indeed, we already read that. O knower of virtue, even the sin inherited from previous births disappears immediately in the company of good men, like the water of the autumnal clouds. Vaishya said, drinking the nectar of your words, my soul has obtained peace. I have received the fruit of all pilgrimages at the very sight of yours. Having heard the words of the king, the sage said unto him, O mighty monarch, who desire the result of Trivarga, this is for your benefit. And as Trivarga is footnoted, the three objects of worldly existence, i.e., Dharma, Artha, and Kama. Now, They often include a fourth one, which is moksha, or liberation, and call them the three ends of life, or the four desired ends of life, the things you live for: spirituality, wealth, sex, and liberation. And of course, drugs and rock and roll. I lost my place.
I think you're at
There it is, 115.
115.
O mighty monarch, who desire the result of Trivarga, this is for your benefit. Whatever good you have done is, in my opinion, rendered fruitless because it is done without Vrshotsarga. We're back to Vrshotsarga. Hence, it is like a dewdrop. There's no other means of accomplishment in this world except the performance of Vrshotsarga. Know that the two can easily obtain the status of pious persons, one who performs Vrshotsarga and the other who performs the horse sacrifice. I have seen the two standing side by side, the great god Indra. Hence go to Pushkara and perform a Vrshotsarga. Well, we've both been to Pushkar, as have many hippies and Israelis, and devout Hindus as well. They're all thick there. 119. Then go home, O gentlemen, and do the needful, for what is to be done should be done immediately. Vipashchit said, then in the month of Kartika come to the Pushkara lake, where God in the form of boar himself performs a sacrifice. Thus told, he performed Vrshotsarga as prescribed by the best of the sages. He visited holy places in the company of Lomasha, and his merit was increased by performing Vrshotsarga. After death he went to heaven, enjoyed heavenly pleasures, traveling in magnificent cars, and after the exhaustion of merit was born in the royal family of Virasena. He was known as Virapanchanana. When he performed Vrshotsarga, that obtains for the performer the fruits of Trivarga, he was assisted by a number of attendants. These were sprinkled over by the drops of water from the bull's tail, and as a result got divine forms. These were the persons who looked strong, stout, and beautiful. Then there were the persons who out of jealousy did not cherish the performance of Vrshotsarga. They were born lean, remained naked, and dirty. This, in brief, is the record of the past life of the king. This strange story I have heard from Parashara. Having heard this story, you may go home immediately. Parashara again. On hearing the words of Vipashchit, the Brahmana was very much surprised. He went home, escorted by the king's servants. Vasishta said, therefore, O king, perform Vrshotsarga, the best of all pious acts, if you are afraid of Yama. There is no other means better than Vrshotsarga, O king. I have told you the secret of Dharma today. If a woman whose husband and son are alive dies in the presence of her husband, Vrshotsarga should not be performed, and as an alternative, a milch cow should be given to a Brahmin. The Lord said, on hearing the words of Vasishta, the king went to Madhupuri and performed Vrshotsarga and was gratified at heart. When in due course of time he passed away, he was carried by Yama's messengers. He passed by the city of Yama in the way, meaning on the way. He asked the escorting messengers about the city of Shradadeva, where the sinners were let down by Yama's servants for the purgation of their soul, and where the Lord who knows Dharma and Adharma resides. Thereupon the messengers told him that they had passed by the city of sinners, which was not to be seen by persons like him. They then escorted him to the city of Dharmaraja, and standing before Dharmaraja, informed him about the history of the monarch. The Lord, who stood along with the deities and Gandharvas, showed his divine form. The king bowed prostrate and then stood with hands joined in reverence. Delighted in mind, he praised the Lord in many ways. Then Dharmaraja praised the king and asked the messenger to take him to Devaloka, where many delights exist. Viravahana was surprised. He asked Dharmaraja to tell him what merit he had performed in life that he was brought to heaven by the messengers. Dharmaraja said, "You've done several pious deeds, given gifts and performed sacrifices, and accomplished Vrshotsarga in Mathura at the instance of Vasishta. O king, even a little dharma, if done properly, multiplies due to the favor of Brahmins and deities." Having said thus, Yama disappeared at once. Virabahu went to heaven and enjoyed there in the company of deities. The Lord said, "O bird, I have told you in detail all about Vrshotsarga. On hearing this, the people get released from sins which they incur as the result of their bad activities." The end of chapter 6.
So a lot about reincarnation this time, and sometimes with memory, which I thought was interesting. And the other thing I noticed was that this guy skipped over all those hells that we were reading about.
Yeah, well, that's sort of the whole point. If you do the Vrshotsarga, then you don't have to stop at the bad. But it's kind of nice. He talks to the messenger. "Why aren't we stopping at that town?" "Oh, sir, that town is not for you. It's for the bad people. We're just going right by that one."
Interesting.
Yes, interesting indeed. And it's been long, so should we let them go?
Oh, we should.
All right, we'll talk later.